Greetings and welcome to the first semifinal match in Minnesota Quiz Bowl. We're going to find one team to head off to a national tournament. It might be the Burnsville Braves. It might be the Rosemount Irish. Find out which team comes out victorious. We'll have half hour of exciting academic action and we'll start in just a moment.
Live from Studio North, this is another televised match of the Minnesota High School Quiz Bowl. A round-robin tournament Quiz Bowl Incorporated receives primary administrative and operational funding from the University of St. Thomas and St. Paul. Additional support is provided by the law firms of Robbins, Kaplan, Miller, and Cerisi, 3M, Super Value, the Minnesota AFL-CIO, EPA Audio Visual Incorporated, and by the participating teams. This telecast is produced by students in the television production program, part of the Arts and Communication Magnet at North Community High School, and is simulcast on KBEM FM 88.5. And now, here's the moderator of the Minnesota High School Quiz Bowl, George Leiter.
We're back and we're ready to start that first quarter of action between two of our area's top teams. We're going to start with a series of rapid round questions worth from 5 to 20 points. Teams, let's kick it off with this 10-pointer. The $18 million lawsuit filed by last year's winner didn't seem to dampen the enthusiasm.
Yuen, Rosemount.
Miss USA is right for 10 points. For 10 points, the Berkey has a two-time winner when Austrian skier Manfred Nagel crossed the finish line last week. For 10...
Pattie, Burnsville.
Noah finished for 10 points. Spell Berkebiner.
Wodarz, Rosemount.
B-I-R-K-E-B-E-I-N-E-R.
That is right for 10 points. Here's another 10-pointer. This Delaware-based corporation has agreed to pay $1.85 million.
Williams, Burnsville.
DuPont is right for 10 points. For 15 points, there was more than the usual amount of red tape when Barbara and Kenny Jenks of Panama City, Florida, finally got permission to use what kind of treatment for their...
Fecke, Burnsville.
Marijuana.
Marijuana is right for 15 points. For 5 points, a blood thinner known as warfarin is one of the two drugs shown to reduce strokes in a recent...
Fecke, Burnsville.
Aspirin.
Aspirin, that's right for 5 points. For 15 points, saying that holding tobacco stocks was, quote, incompatible with their mission, which major university made headlines last week by divesting claiming they would divest $5.3 million worth of stocks and bonds from their endowment.
Johnson, Rosemount.
North Carolina.
That's incorrect. Can you take it, Burnsville?
Fecke, Burnsville.
Virginia.
It was John Hopkins. Here's a 20-pointer. He's announced that he'll give his salary to charity and stop corruption and brutality by national security forces, named as bold, popular new president of Haiti.
Live, Burnsville.
Jean-Philippe Aristide.
Judge?
We'll take that.
We'll take that. Aristide is what we're looking for 20 points. For 5 points, who is the current Attorney General of Minnesota?
Fecke, Burnsville.
Skip Humphrey.
That's correct for 5 points. For 10 points, yes, but is it art? Michael Jackson has recently announced that America will soon be able to drop as little as $10 or as many as $20,000 for a likeness of the Thriller himself. What product is he planning on marketing?
Johnson, Rosemount.
Nintendo game.
No, that's incorrect. Can you take it, Burnsville?
Fecke, Burnsville.
Dolls.
No, it's holograms. And here's another 15-pointer. As part of Gender Exploration Week, students of opposite sexes were allowed to room with each other, ostensibly to improve the understanding between the sexes. On which university campus did this important experiment take place?
Fecke, Burnsville.
Berkeley.
No, that's incorrect. Can you take it?
Yuen, Rosemount.
Stanford.
Stanford is right for 15 points. For 5 points, which of the following labels indicates a pH of 10? Acid, basic, non-alkaline, or...
Williams, Burnsville.
Basic.
That is right for 5. For 15 points, in which U.S. state did the Bretton Woods Conference on Post-War Monetary and Financial Problems...
Wodarz, Rosemount.
New Hampshire is right for 15 points. Here's a 10-pointer, teams. Of the 9 pairs of U.S. states that have the Mississippi River as the boundary between them, name the only pair whose names begin with the same letter.
Fecke, Burnsville.
Illinois and Iowa.
That's right for 10. For 20. We won't have time to start that one, but we've got off to some kind of start here. After 1 quarter of play, we've got Burnsville out to a 70-50 lead. That's a lot of points for 1 period of play. Now, before we go on to the second period of play, let's meet the teams in tonight's contest, and let's begin with the Burnsville Braves.
Hi, my name is Bruce Sly, and I'm excited to hi to my brother who'll be watching this.
My name is Jeff Fecke. I'm a junior. This is Opus Legion, for he is many. I had a few people to introduce tonight, but because of time, I'm just going to say hi to a few of them. I'd like to say hi to the Burnsville Pet Band Party Crew, Joanna Shesso, Kat Rollins, Scott Bobnick, Skeeter Burrow, Kim Roach, Mark Moen, Cindy Riddell, Dave Bolton, and Emily Shesso. And our fellow quiz bowlers from Burnsville too, Angie Rodel, Bob DeCamp, Mike Peak, and Michelle Lacey. Sorry, Lansing.
Hi, my name's Eric Williams. I'm this year's senior captain. Tonight, I've got a few people I want to say hi to also. First of all, Mrs. Lenhart, my former AP government teacher, she's out there. Grandma and Grandpa watching tonight, Bill Bergen, who's listening, Carolyn Sickle, Bravettes Rock, Tom Daly, Carla Varberg, and any other Burnsville fans. This is Opus Ice, and he plays that funky music, and instead of when the fat lady sings, it's not over until Opus Ice plays that funky music. And finally, since this may be my match last of the season, hopefully not, I'd just like to say thanks to the crew here at Studio North for this great opportunity over the past 2 years for Quiz Bowl. I've really enjoyed it, and you've got a professional job that you're doing up here. Thanks.
And I'm Chris Pattie of Burnsville. I'm a senior. And I'd just like to greet Angie Rodel, who's hopefully listening out there. And I was wondering if you'd be interested in going out with me this weekend.
Not.
Thank you, Captain Williams. And now on to Rosemount.
Well, let's just stop and meet the coach in tonight's contest. The Burnsville team is being coached by Don Gerlach, who's at my side. We wish that team luck, and now we swing the cameras over and meet the Rosemount Irish.
Hi, I'm Phillip Johnson, a junior at Rosemount. At this time, I would like to remind you that because of the First Amendment and the bylaws of the Minnesota Quiz Bowl, I have the privilege to make a fool of myself at this time with some inane comment. However, I won't.
Hi, my name is Patrick Tapp, and when I grow up, I want to be a Chippendales dancer. Thank you. Hi, I'm Edwin Yuen. I'm a senior at Rosemount High School. I'd like to point out that since you don't see his torso, Bill Stock is actually naked from the waist down for the pleasure of the crew around here.
Hello, I'm Nathan Wodarz. I'm a senior, and I am going to exercise my privilege to make some inane comment, as I am actually Hitler in disguise, and if you'd let me prove it, I can butcher the national anthem worse than Roseanne Barr.
Let's hold off on that. There we have the team from Rosemount, one of which who had the good sense to withhold his inane comments, and their coach this evening, Mary Keuttner, who's at my side. We wish that team well, too. A bunch of cut-ups, but 2 crack squads. So let's meet Bill's, speaking of cut-ups, our judge tonight, Bill Stock. And if you might just tell us how this second period of play would work.
Well, the heck with that, George. I think we'll just jump right back into the action, seeing as all the time's been used up, and Yuen, your buzzer just broke.
All right, well, again, we're going to have 10-point toss-ups that are bonus questions for the teams that answer correctly. So, teams, let's get started with this 10-pointer. His claim to the throne came from his descent from King William the Lion, but he had to defeat the puppet king of England's Edward I to win the Scottish throne. Name this Scottish king.
Williams, Burnsville.
King James?
Oh, that's incorrect. Can you take it, Rosemount?
Yuen, Rosemount.
Macbeth?
No, it's Robert I, or Robert Bruce. Take this 10-pointer, another tough one. Her story, The History of the Standard Oil Company, was published in 1904 by McClure's magazine. Name this female muckraker.
Tapp, Rosemount.
That's incorrect. Can you take it, Burnsville?
Time.
And that's Ida Tarbell. How about this one? Galileo proved that falling bodies accelerate at a uniform rate, but air resistance can bring objects to contradict this law. An object reaches a speed at which...
Fecke, Burnsville.
Terminal velocity.
Terminal velocity. That's right, for 10 points, and it earns you this bonus question. For 10 points each, answer these questions about Arthurian legends. First, who was the knight and sort of adopted brother of Arthur for whom Arthur was a squire?
K.
That's right, Sir Kay. For another 10 points, who was the watery being that reclaimed Excalibur after Arthur's death?
Lady of the Lake.
That is right. And for another 10, usually depicted as his nephew, who mortally wounded Arthur? Mordred, all 30 points for Burnsville on the bonus. Here's another 10-point toss-up. Who became U.S. president 8 years after leading the Allied armies to victory in...
Williams, Burnsville.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
That is right for 10 points, and here's Burnsville's bonus. Identify this 19th century American author from a list of his works. 25 if you get it after 1 clue, 15 after 2, or 5 after 3, and you may answer after each clue. We start with this one, A Week on the Concord and Merrimack Rivers.
Yes, please.
Toy.
Nope, I'll go on to a second clue, Civil Disobedience.
Henry David Thoreau.
That's right, got 15 points on that bonus. Here comes another 10-point toss-up, teams. Which part of the body is affected by the inflammatory condition known as otitis?
Why Burnsville?
No, that's incorrect. You can take it, Rosemount.
Wodarz?
The ear.
The ear is right for 10 points, and here's your bonus. Now that Germany is reunited, let's test your knowledge of German geography by asking you to identify these 3 German cities. First, for 5 points, the capital of Bavaria. It was the site of the 1923 Beer Hall Putsch.
Munich.
That is right, for 10 points. The oldest German port city, it was West Germany's second largest port and was badly damaged during World War II.
Bremen.
That is correct for 10, and here's another 10-pointer. This city's firebombing at the hands of the Allies during World War II was the subject of Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse 5.
Dresden.
That's right, all 25 points for Rosemount. Here's another 10-point toss-up, teams. What famous pledge did Francis Bellamy write in 1890?
Johnson, Rosemount.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. That's right for 10 points, and here's your bonus. Place these events from ancient history in the correct chronological order from earliest to latest. 5 points each, but a wrong answer will stop you. They are: Carthage destroyed in the Third Punic War, Pericles comes to power in Athens, the Battle of Marathon occurs, Alexander the Great dies, and Hannibal is defeated at the Battle of Zama.
Which one do you want first?
Captain, begin listing your answer, please.
Battle of Marathon, Pericles, Alexander the Great, Hannibal, and Carthage.
All right, an impressive 25 points for Rosemount. Here goes another 10-pointer. With what kind of metal does one associate the ears of a person who is unable to perceive small?
Fecke, Burnsville.
Tin.
Tin is right for 10 points, and that quick answer gets you this bonus. Answer these musical questions. First, a 5-pointer. Known in Italian as a cornamus, the melody of this instrument is known as is played on the canters, while one or more drone pipes sound bass tones.
Try cornet. Clarinet. Coronet.
Coronet.
That's a bagpipe. And for 10 points, it denotes a polyphonic vocal composition for 2 or more voices without accompaniment. It reached its height in popularity in the 16th century.
Madrigal.
Madrigal.
That's right for 10. And for 15, the guitarist who pioneered multi-track recording and intentional distortion,
Les
he
Paul.
performed with Mary Ford.
Les Paul.
Les Paul.
That's right, 25 points for Burnsville, so they're not missing many here. Let's go to this 10-pointer. On April 15th, 1920, 2 men were killed in Massachusetts payroll holdup. 2 men well known for their connection to anarchist.
Williams, Burnsville.
Sacco and Vanzetti.
That's right for 10 points, and that earns you this bonus question. Here's a bonus on products that didn't quite work out as planned. First, for 5 points, material made of silicate fibers, which was used in fireproofing and insulation, but is now being removed because of its carcinogenicity. No, because it's
Asbestos.
carcinogenic. Right. Asbestos is right for 5 points. For 10 points, the automobile made by Ford, whose gas tank was subject to explosion when the car was struck from the rear.
The Pinto.
That's right for 10. And for 15, this mild sedative was introduced in the late 1950s, but was withdrawn when it was linked to birth defects.
Valium.
No, it's thalidomide, but you did get 15 points on that bonus. Well, we've come to the end of our first half of play, and we're going to have to take a second to tabulate the score because it's going to be a high one. We'll have that for you in just a second while you watch this about our sponsors. We'll be right back.
The Minnesota High School Quiz Bowl Incorporated receives primary administrative and operational funding from the University of St. Thomas and St. Paul. Additional support is provided by the law firm of Robbins, Kaplan, Miller, and Cerisi, 3M, Super Value, the Minnesota AFL-CIO, EPA Audio Visual Incorporated, and by the participating teams. This program is made possible with the assistance of the Minneapolis Public Schools Department of Vocational Technical Education and Department of Educational Media Services, the Arts and Communication Major at North Community High School, KBEM Minneapolis 88.5 FM, and Studio North Television. Meals for the Quiz Bowl crew are provided by Taco Bell, 425 West Broadway, Subway, 521 West Broadway, and McDonald's, 1256 Penn Avenue North. Transmission and distribution of this program is provided by MTN, the Minneapolis Television Network, and by your local cable company.
Well, as we promised, two top squads create high scores, and we've got Burnsville out ahead right now, 195 to 120. Let's see what happens now in the second half of play. We're going to again have a period where toss-up questions earn bonus questions for the team that answers correctly. And we start with this 10-pointer, teams. In pounds per square inch, what is the pressure on the pavement if a 10-ton truck's weight is supported by 8 wheels, each having 20 square inches of surface in contact with the concrete?
Wodarz, Rosemount.
125.
125 is right. That's 10 points and a crack at this bonus. The ballet is one of Russia's greatest musical and cultural contributions to the world of arts. Identify the Russian composers of these ballets. First for 5 points, Swan Lake.
Tchaikovsky.
That is right. For 10 points, The Rite of Spring.
Korsakov.
No, that's Stravinsky. And finally for 10 points, Romeo and Juliet.
Korsakov.
Well, that's, say it wrong, Prokofiev, something like that. Thanks. All right, here's another 10-pointer, teams. Let's start with, she was a mountain nymph who helped Zeus seduce another woman by chattering at Hera. Hera took away her ability to speak except...
Pattie, Burnsville.
Echo.
Echo is right for 10 points, and that earns you this bonus. In the United States, the highest legislative assembly is the Congress. In Great Britain, it's the Parliament. For 5 points each, what is it in? First, Israel.
The Knesset.
That's right for 5. The Soviet Union.
The Supreme Soviet.
The Supreme Soviet.
That is correct. In Japan.
Hands, please.
The Parliament.
No, it's the Diet. And finally, Iceland.
Hands, please. Time.
Icelandic
It's
Parliament.
Alting. That's the oldest. Now let's go. That's 10 points total on the bonus. Here's another toss-up. Identify the war from 1756 to 1763 in which Great Britain and...
Williams, Burnsville.
French and Indian Wars.
no, I'll finish. And Prussia defeated France, Austria, Russia.
Wodarz,
The
Rosemount.
7 Years' War?
7 Years' War is right for 10 points, and here's your bonus. Since World War II, 4 native-born Americans have won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Given a work by one of them, identify its Nobel Prize-winning author for 5 points each. First for 5 points, and no, not all 5 points, this one's for 5 points, For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Hemingway.
That's correct. Next for 5 points, The Wasteland.
T.S. Eliot.
That's correct. For 10 points, The Hamlet.
Faulkner.
That is correct for 10, and for 10, The Winter of Our Discontent.
Hands, please.
Paine.
That's John Steinbeck with 20 points. 20 points at Rosemount, and here's another 10-pointer. Which U.S. state lies between the Hudson and Delaware rivers and between New York City and...
Wodarz, Rosemount.
New Jersey is right, and that earns Rosemount another bonus. The 3 fates were 3 deities in Greek mythology who decided the fates of men and gods. Give each fate's prime duty. Given each fate's prime duty, you identify her for 10 points each. First, who spins the thread of life?
Time.
That's Clotho. Who measures the thread of life?
Clotho.
No, and that's Lachesis. And who cuts the thread of life?
Pathos.
And pretty close, Atropos. So no points on that tough bonus. How about this 10-point toss-up, teams? Name the Texas Democrat who was the first black woman in the southern state to serve in the U.S. Congress.
Time.
That's Barbara Jordan. For 10 points, and you might want a pencil, what is the slope of the line 2x minus 3y equals 6?
Wodarz, Rosemount.
2/3.
That is right for 10 points, and here's your bonus. For 10 points each, identify the scientist responsible for discovering some important gases. First, what 18th and 19th century English scientist is credited with discovering oxygen?
Priestley.
Priestley.
That's right for 10. What 19th and 20th century English scientist is credited with discovering the Nobel gases?
Dalton.
No, that's Ramsay. And what wealthy 18th and 19th century English scientist is credited with discovering hydrogen?
Dalton.
No, that's Cavendish, but you got 10 points on the bonus and a crack at both teams at this 10-point bonus. European sailors noted this effect when their cannonballs curved in opposite directions.
Wodarz, Rosemount.
This effect?
Coriolis effect is right for 10 points, and here's your bonus. The sobriquet Great has been attached to the names of only a few men in history for 10 points each. Name these leaders so honored. And for 10 points, the first Christian emperor of Rome.
Constantine.
That is correct. For another 10, the king of Prussia from 1740 to 1786.
Answer, please.
Otto.
That's Frederick II. And finally, the ruler of Russia from 1672 to 1725.
Peter the Great.
Yeah, we'll take that. You got 2 right there for a total of 20 points. And now let's go to this 10-pointer. He himself wrote 2 books about life on the sun and moon. But this 17th century Frenchman is...
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Jules Verne.
No, I'll finish. He's better known as the hero of a play by Edwin Rostand. Identify this French swashbuckler.
Time.
That's Cyrano de Bergerac. How about this 10-pointer? Binary arithmetic is central to design and function of computers. Complete this binary arithmetic problem and give me a binary answer. 1010 divided by 101 times 10.
Time.
That's 100 there. How about this 10-pointer? This Revolutionary War battle was actually a series of engagements fought from June to October in 1777 in New York. The final battle occurred when John Burgoyne was outnumbered and surrounded.
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Saratoga.
Saratoga is right for 10, and here's your bonus. Here's a trio on mathematical miscellany for 5 points. And we'll finish the bonus since we started. You all know the quadratic equation, but what name is given to the term b squared minus 4ac that appears under the radical?
Discriminant.
That's right for 5. For 10, which mathematician conjectured that for any integer n greater than 2, there can be no 3 positive integers x, y, and z such that x to the nth plus y to the nth equals z to the nth?
Euler.
No, that was Fermat. And finally, for 10 points, all or nothing, give the 4 types of non-degenerate conic sections.
Captain, begin your answer.
Parabola, hyperbola, ellipse, and circle.
That's right for 10, so a total of 15 points. And now we go to a 4th period of play. With a quick check of the score, we've got Rosemount now ahead 250 to 215. We finish with a 4th period of play where questions are again worth from 5 to 20 points. And let's see how many we can get through. Teams, let's begin with this one. For 5, identify the chemical name for the smallest particle that shows all the properties of a compound.
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Molecule.
Time was called.
Fecke, Burnsville.
Molecule.
Molecule is right for 5 or 10. Identify the 9th U.S. president who was called Old Tip.
Fecke, Burnsville.
William Henry Harrison.
Correct for 10 for 10. One of the richest known sources of Ice Age fossils is the La Brea tar pits. In which cities?
Yuen, Rosemount.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, right for 10 for 5. What fraction of 18 karat gold is pure gold?
Tapp, Rosemount. Time. Fecke, Burnsville.
3/4.
That's right for 5 for 20. Clyde Griffiths is executed for the murder of his pregnant girlfriend, Roberta Alden, in a work called The American Tragedy. Name the author.
Time.
Time's called. Theodore Dreiser for 10. Of which Central American country did Jose Napoleon?
Yuen, Rosemount.
El Salvador.
Correct for 10 for 5. Which capital city located on the South Platte River is the home of the branch of the U.S. Mint?
Johnson, Rosemount.
Lincoln.
No, I'll finish. Inappropriate enough for the Nuggets.
Fecke, Burnsville.
Omaha.
No, it's Denver for 10. The atomic bomb can annihilate a city. Spell the word annihilate.
Wodarz, Rosemount.
ANNIHILATE.
That's correct for 10. For 10, this inventor incorporated a triangular curve of constant width in his design. His rotary engine is still available, but never...
Well, Yuen, Rosemount.
Wenkel.
Wenkel's right for 10. For 15, which constellation is known as the Chained Lady?
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Andromeda.
Correct for 15. For 10, which U.S. president in 1877 was the first to welcome children in the...
Williams, Burnsville.
Ulysses S. Grant.
No, in the White House for Easter egg rolling.
Tapp, Rosemount.
FDR.
No, Rutherford B. Hayes. For 20, which Spanish-born American philosopher said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it?
Time.
Time was called. George Santayana. For 15, identify the lake that has the largest surface area of any lake south of the...
Wodarz, Rosemount. Time.
Victoria.
and south of the equator.
Williams, Burnsville.
Lake Erie.
No, it's Lake Victoria. For 20 points, name the great French artist in the 17th century, the founder of his country's classical school. This artist's first U.S. retrospective was in Fort Worth in 1988.
Yuen, Rosemount.
Monet.
Nope, can you take it, Burnsville?
Time.
Time. Poussin for 10 points. What is the value of 16 to the 3/4 power?
Johnson, Rosemount.
8.
8 is correct for 10. For 10, name the great religious reformer who wrote the small and large catechisms. And
Tapp, Rosemount.
that's correct for 10. For 10, which president on a hunting trip in the Mississippi Delta refused?
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt's right for 10 points. For 15, what name is given to an event that occurred on November 9th, 1938, which historians have called the start of the Holocaust? Thousands of...
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Kristallnacht is correct for 15. For 5, name any of the many heavenly bodies that are also called minor planets or planetoids.
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Asteroids.
Asteroids, that's right for 5. For 20, what name designates the Palestinian uprising in Gaza? And
Fecke, Burnsville.
Intifada is right for 20. For 10, name the Latin name, give the Latin name for the French astrologer who is back from the headlines.
Wodarz, Rosemount.
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus, that's right for 10. For 10, name these. Oh, we won't have time to finish that one. What a rapid pace fourth quarter. We're going to have to take just a moment to find our final score in tonight's contest. We'll have that for you in just one moment. We're back, and we've got that final score. Rosemount made a run at the end, and they emerged victorious 365 to 255. But add those two scores up, and you know you've seen an impressive match in Minnesota Quiz Bowl. Now, we'll have Rosemount squaring off at 8:30 against the winner of our next match. That's between Edina and St. Paul Academy. And before we disappear, we want to give 2 notes of thanks. One to the crack crew here at North, who provided all this fine technical help to us, and also to our coordinator, Vicki Griggs, who's helped bring much of what you see before you to bear. So we thank them both, and we'll see you at our next match against Edina and SPA. We'll be back. Apple Valley. And that's what I know. Sorry.
This has been another televised match of the Minnesota High School Quiz Bowl, featuring 44 teams from throughout the greater metropolitan area. The Minnesota High School Quiz Bowl Incorporated receives primary administrative and operational funding from the University of St. Thomas and St. Paul. Additional support is provided by the law firm of Robbins, Kaplan, Miller, and Cerisi, 3M, Super Value, the Minnesota AFL-CIO, EPA Audio Visual Incorporated, and by the participating teams. This telecast is produced by students in the television production program, part of the Arts and Communication Unit at North Community High School, and is simulcast on KBEM-FM 88.5. This program is made possible with the assistance of the Minneapolis Public Schools Department of Vocational Technical Education and Department of Educational Media Services. Also, the Arts and Communication Unit at North Community High School, KBEM Minneapolis 88.5 FM, and Studio North Television. Meals for the Quiz Bowl crew are provided by Taco Bell, 425 West Broadway, Subway, 521 West Broadway, and McDonald's, 1256 Penn Avenue North. Transmission and distribution of this program is provided by MTN, the Minneapolis Television Network, and by your local cable company. The executive producer of Minnesota High School Quiz Bowl is David Nielsen. The production coordinator is Paul Kelly. The Quiz Bowl coordinator is Vicky Wood.